Hi everyone! Today I am back with the final preparation for a no-spend month. Just to recap, we've talked about in the first video what is no spend, what does that mean, how to get your family on board, how to mentally prepare for one. Second video was all about the food and menu planning and your grocery list type things, inventorying your resources. And this one is going to be along those same lines, but it's going to be more of your home and family things, as well as just those final preparations with your schedule on how to do your no spend and to get ready to rock and roll. When I put this cover on, I did not know how appropriate this cover was going to be with my fear cover. I'm just going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly here in this video. This particular year has caused me a lot of stress and anxiety. There are several reasons for that. Number one, I am doing this no spend in public, essentially, by sharing it on my channel here. And while I made a very conscious decision to do that, I will be honest and say it does add a little bit more of an element of anxiety, because normally if and when I fail, which I of course try not to do, but if you fail and nobody knows about it, you just are disappointed in yourself. Whereas if you fail in public, everybody knows. And so it's just a little bit more difficult to do something like this when everybody knows about it. Number two is, and I have shared this, my husband is completely on board with this. However, based on our past experiences, he has one request, and that is that we can possibly consider going to the grocery store for a few fruits and vegetables about that third week. So I'm the saver of the relationship, he's the spender. So while logically that makes sense in my brain, and I'm not his mother and I love and support him, he's my husband, not my child. In my saver brain, I do have an issue with that. I'm just going to be completely honest. For me, no spend means no spend. So for me, just even the possibility of thinking about failing, essentially, is how my brain works. That's not okay with me. I know it's the way I think, and then I need to get over it, because that's really not a horrible, crazy request. You know, he's not asking us to go out to dinner or doing a whole bunch of other crazy spending. So we're just going to play it by ear, but it's just that anxiety is what I'm having, that I might have to spend some money in a no spend month. If you're a spender out there, you're probably thinking, what is the big deal? Get over it. You savers out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just an internal struggle that I'm having with myself, and I'll be fine. I'm just sharing my true feelings here. The other main thing that happened is that towards the end of September, so like the weekend of that September, which was just, less than a week ago, one of the lights in my cars came on. And so I had to take my car in, which I'll show you and open that up. I had to take my car in here. And so I was without a car. The last 3 days of September, I was without a car. And as you can imagine, I had stuff to do, and especially I needed to go to the grocery store, all that kind of thing. So my anxiety was shooting through the roof, because normally in a no spend, or the preparation for a no spend, I can do one or two things every single day, and it's fine, and I'm really excited about it. This year was a little bit different, because I had to do all of my preparation essentially on the 30th. Fortunately, my husband was in town. There are some good things about this. He was in town. I was able to use his car for a few hours to get those things done. As you can see, he was home on the weekend, but for like these 5 days leading up to October 1st, our nights were jam-packed, and so I couldn't do anything during the nighttime. So again, I just was having a lot of stress, just wondering, am I going to even be able to have time to go to the grocery store? Because that's a catastrophe. If we can't go to the grocery store on September 30th, no bueno. Fortunately, it all worked out, as it usually does, and that's just life, right? I will throw this out there. And I'm grateful that my car needed this work. in September. If it had happened in October, I would have taken care of it and I would have spent money on my car. I think car maintenance and car problems, car issues like that are an absolute necessity, and I would not have felt guilty for taking care of that. So again, good thing it happened in September. And then let's turn to October. So the last place we ended off is I had shared with you all of my menu, my freezer, pantry challenge, smoothie challenge, and then of course the no spend. And then here is my grocery list. Another thing that caused me a little bit of anxiety is my husband was trying to be very helpful and supportive and loving, and so he went to the main grocery store with me, which was Aldi. Now, because he's a spender, what happens when he goes to the store with me is he always is throwing things in the cart. And because we're heading into no spend, I'm, starting to freak out a little bit. However, the things he was putting in the cart or what he wanted was just very basic things. And again, I just needed to get over it. And on the flip side of that, there were a few things on this list that I didn't end up buying. I chose not to buy them. So again, it all worked out. It's just, in the meantime, causes me stress. So with the smoothie challenge, I will share that the only things we needed to buy to complete the recipes for that was just a pineapple and a cantaloupe. The only staple that we really needed was sushi rice, and then I had shared that we needed some meat and cheese for some recipes for my boys. And then the condiments, again, not super necessary, but it's just one of those things that kind of adds to a recipe. And this is especially important when you're going into a no spend, to just have enough ingredients that it doesn't make you feel super deprived. So I bought, as you can see, I bought sunflower seeds, which I have, I was going to say 3 recipes probably that have sunflower seeds in them. And then the black sesame seeds are for basically our Asian recipes, our sushi and things like that. So those are just really the only condiments that I needed to buy. Then you probably didn't notice because I haven't shared everything with you, all the details, because I know it's going to be a lot of detail for some people, and then it's going to be too much for other people. So I'm just trying to share how I do this, so hopefully it's going to be helpful for somebody. We have, I think, about 15 eggs in our fridge. We didn't buy any more, and we don't eat tons of eggs, as well as when I'm doing baking, I use the flaxseed replacement. So that's how we were able to get around not needing any more eggs. And then milk, we have a few packages of powdered milk to use up. And then I also make some almond milk. So we don't really drink milk. So that's how we can get around some of those staples that people normally buy. So the grocery shopping went totally fine. And then I will share with you, I've got one thing. So all of the ingredients that we bought were all very basic ingredients, things that I couldn't make, like, celery. I didn't grow that in my garden. I can't just, make it appear out of magic. So those are the things that we actually bought, were just those very basic ingredients necessary to keep us alive, to complete a recipe, things like that. So nothing crazy. We didn't buy any prepackaged food or snacks or treats or anything like that. We will be making all of that from scratch. And again, that's just keeping with the philosophy of the no spend month and what our resources are. I will share this with you. This is the one and only treat type of thing, prepackaged thing that I have left in the house. This is my favorite Cliff Bar. It's the chocolate mint protein bar. I did not buy this specifically for the no spend month, but in coming up to that, I did think to myself, you better save this and not eat it in September. So I've shared that the second weekend is usually where I want to crack and I'm the weakest. So I will foresee that I will probably end up eating this in that second weekend period time. And let's be honest, this isn't the healthiest thing out there, but it's not the worst thing either. And if you don't have this kind of thing on hand, like I said, this is the one and only thing I have, then you might want to buy something in preparation as kind of a built-in reward system or a treat type of thing to get you through the rest of the month. This is what it is for me. This is how I roll. But it could be something different for you. But, you know, we didn't stock up on ice cream or cookies or chips or anything like that. So that's just how we do the food. And then for the schedule, it's kind of the same thing as the food, just inventory your resources, figure out what you need to get you through the month. This isn't like stock up time. If you notice, or that's kind of my philosophy, like September 30th, even though I had a lot of last minute errands to run, I wasn't going to Target and having this frantic shopping spree and buying out the store because I, you know, didn't want to, in preparation for not spending anything on October. Everything that I bought, I would have bought essentially, eventually. It wasn't something that was an unplanned, unnecessary purchase, if that makes sense. So the other things that I needed, which I will share with you, are, let's start with this one. Some buttons. This is for my son's coat. I thought about waiting till November, but we live in an area where our weather is pretty, I'm going to say bipolar. Like it just, you know, it can be 80 degrees in the morning and then in the afternoon it's like 45 and storming. So there is a strong possibility in October we will have to whip out our coats. And of course, I want to be a good mom, and this is not really that big of a deal. I did buy these 50% off at Joann's, so I will get his buttons on his coat sometime in the next week or so. And then I also bought these, which are knitting needles. And this is really because my best friend wants to learn how to knit. And instead of like telling her, well, I want to be a good friend as well, but instead of telling her like, go to the store and buy this, you know, it's overwhelming if you're looking for something that you don't really know what you're looking for. So I just went ahead and bought her these because we're going to be knitting in October. So that is something, again, that I just had to kind of pre-plan. Then also my, you know, and kind of like going through things, my dog had enough dog food and his medicines and things like that. All of our hygiene type stuff, we had soap, toilet paper, shampoo, all that kind of stuff that get us through. The only thing that we really needed was this, which is melatonin. We absolutely have to have this to sleep. This is awesome if you've never tried melatonin. But I didn't literally count every single pill that we had left in our other bottle, but I just really felt like it wasn't going to be enough, and this is definitely something that we don't want to run out of. So I did buy a new bottle of melatonin. Back to my car, when I got my car and picked it up on the 30th, it had about a third of a tank left. I did go ahead and fill that up. There is a very strong chance that I will not have to fill up my tank. I don't have a lot of miles to drive every day, as well as if you're not going to the store, right? And it's a no spend month, so you're not going to the store and buying anything. That also cuts down on the gas consumption. My husband will definitely have to fill up, but again, gas is a necessity to get to your job. But I probably won't have to fill up. So that's a good thing. I did have a haircut scheduled. I think it's this second full week in October. I have long hair, very low maintenance, and I think I'd scheduled this about 3 months prior. And at that time, we hadn't completely decided that we were going to do a no-spend October. So that's no big deal. I haven't rescheduled that yet, but that is something that I need to do, and I will just reschedule that to November. I do have a dentist appointment, but I don't spend anything there. We have insurance, and it's just a maintenance cleaning, so that I kept. My other health appointments, again, it's kind of like the groceries. Like one appointment I was able to put off for my doctor, but unfortunately there's another doctor that I had to add an additional appointment in October. So back to the necessities, health, taking care of your health, and my health problems are definitely a necessity. Then I think the only other thing I needed was, this is my powder. I make my own face powder, and as you can see, I just ran out, but I do have all the ingredients to make this, so I'm good there. I've been doing this for several years, and in the spirit of this, as well as the no spend, my eyeshadow and my blush probably have about a week left on them, so I am getting really close to being out of that. But I decided to go ahead and try the eyeshadow and blush recipes that are out there on Pinterest, where you just use your common ingredients. So I figure that the worst case scenario is I just have these, few weeks here into October. If I completely hate it, then I've at least tried it, right? And so I wanted to do that for this month. So I think that that is about it as far as preparation on the home stuff. Then for a couple other details, my sister has a birthday in October. My parents had mentioned that they were going to go, they wanted to go visit her around that time. So I just had to, I have a note here to just make sure and call them that they were still going, which they are. Otherwise, if they decided not to go visit her, I would have had to send out her birthday present on the 30th. Another thing is that my daughter lives really far away, so I try to send her a care package once a month. So with all the craziness that was going on with everything else, I don't want to say I forgot about it, but it just wasn't at the very top of my list. The top of my list was buying the groceries. But I did have to scramble at the last minute, make sure I got to the post office on time to get her package sent off on the 30th. And then I will do another package for her on the 1st. And I think that is about it. I've got just a couple more things to do. I need to, my inventories aren't checked off because with our grocery shopping, I need to update those. I still need to pick some more of our garden produce. And then the very last thing is my husband and I haven't done our budget meeting for the week because this has been super crazy. Hopefully we'll get that done in the next few days. When we get that done, we will take money from the checking accounts, personal and our family checking accounts, and we will move all the money, except for, a few dollars just to make sure, all over to our savings accounts, so we will not be tempted to spend. So that's another big tip that I would recommend, is just to move your money over to savings. You can always move it back if a necessity comes up, or at the end of the month just to move it back, and whatever you decide on that. So again, this is probably too much detail for some people, and I'm just trying to help some other people out there that are really interested on my thought process on how to set this up and what all the preparations that I have to do for a no spend month. But I hope this has been helpful, and thank you again, as usual, for watching.